Chào tất cả các bạn, mình là Linh và mình sẽ là MC đồng hành cùng bạn trong buổi ngày hôm nay. Hiện tại thì diễn đàn doanh nghiệp tạo tác động xã hội của chúng ta đang có 5 phòng Chuyện, Người, Thật, Việc, Thật diễn ra song song. Và diễn giả trong phòng của chúng ta ngày hôm nay sẽ là một diễn giả nước ngoài. Nên trong phòng Chuyện, Người, Thật, Việc, Thật này thì câu chuyện sẽ diễn ra bằng tiếng Anh các bạn nhé. Tôi xin phép nói tiếng Anh từ bây giờ ha. Welcome to Impact Enterprise Summit 2020. My name is Lynn and I will be your MC today. This session will be Real People, Real Story, and our speaker today will be Germ Doornbos, who will share with us the story of journey of the census and how they empower people with disability. And now, before we start, let us spend a few minutes to share how to participate in the in this session.
Leave this room to enter the purple room.
Okay, you can see my slide here. All participants in this meeting by default on mute to prevent background noise, and this condition will remain until the end of the session. Please use the chat box in the taskbar below if you want to share a question or you need any technical support. If you have a question for the panelist, for the speaker, you should send to me, Linley MC. And if you have any technical question, please send it to Trang Lê Tuấn Anh. And we would like to encourage you to display your name in the format, full name and your company, so that you can have our speaker to get quick sense of who you are. And also, later on after this meeting, when you join our Facebook group, you can know who was in the room with you before, and you may want to start conversation with them. And now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our speaker today, Germ Doornbos, co-founders of Journey of the Census. Germ, please unmute and share with us your...
Sorry.
Yes,
Good morning. Good morning. I was on mute. I was talking to my partner who was sitting next to me. But, oh, that's the wrong button again. There we are. Good morning. Fantastic. Good. So, good morning. Xin chào, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us in this summit and joining us and Ling and Tonang me here in the Purple Room. Right. My name is Germ. I am from the Netherlands, and I started the company Journey of the Census together with my partner Vuang Tu, and we are here to support and with the literally planted seed for us. That's easy, but true. So, my presentation. Journey is the name of our company. Ooh. Yeah. What are we? We are a group of premium restaurants and creative services that provide unique opportunity to being served by and in disability. It's the inspiration businesses the social impact comes to people with the biggest groups in that sensory disability group is the blind and visually impaired and the deaf and hearing impaired. Here you can see two numbers, and that is the unemployment rate of those two groups in the country of Vietnam. 90+% unemployment rate for blind and visually impaired, and for the deaf and hearing impaired it is above 65%. Those numbers are extremely high, especially when you compare it to the average unemployment rate in Vietnam of only 2.30%. That is on the same level like countries like Switzerland or Japan. So in terms of employment, Vietnam is doing very well. It is just that in terms of employment for the marginalized groups like blind and deaf, it's very, very high. So why is that? It's mainly for three reasons. There's a very low awareness in society. There's very high stigma in society, and there's very little to minimal government support. So the awareness and the stigma, I think those are together. They are like communicating vats. The lower the awareness, the higher the stigma. But if you're able to lower the awareness, then the stigma will go, if you're able to higher the awareness, the stigma will go down as well. If people are more aware of what people are capable of, people will have not much such a prejudice towards these groups in society. And it is just very sad because they're often very, very motivated people. It is just that people don't really understand what they can do. Therefore, we created our company to attack this issue. And here in the middle, you can see frontline interaction. That is very much the key of our business. The frontline interaction means that we let our guests interact with our team of deaf and blind staff. So people will get a better understanding. People will be able to raise their awareness, and therefore the stigma will hopefully go down. So our vision is to place the people with the PWD, that's abbreviation for people with disability. So the people with disability, we place them in empowered roles. That means that they are in charge of the guest interaction. They're in charge of the guest experience. They are the ones who are face-to-face with our guests, and therefore the staff can demonstrate how capable they are. These interactions will be able to directly change the challenge and the social stigma. That will definitely then go down. And that is very much what we do. Now I will introduce you what actually we do, because this is a lot of information. These are the businesses we have so far. So we started in 2014 with Noir Dining in the Dark, and that is a restaurant. And in the restaurant we have a dark dining room. Actually, we have 3 different rooms, and those rooms are dining rooms, but then there's no light. It's just like a regular restaurant. The only thing what is not there is the light. The service staff in that restaurant is blind and visually impaired, and they are hosting the guests and bringing them into the dining room where the guests will eat their meals in complete darkness. So for the guests, it's a unique experience, sitting in a room where they cannot see. They focus very much on the sense of taste and smell, because we take the strongest sense of us away, and that is sight. So when that is gone, then you will be very much reliant on the other senses you have left. And when you're eating a meal, suddenly you're actually just eating with taste and smell, and you're not really reliant on sight anymore. So you have a very hard time understanding the difference, for instance, between tuna and chicken. So that is a restaurant we started in 2014, and 3 years later, in 2017, we started Blanc Restaurant. Blanc is in the light, so it's opposite the dark restaurant of Noir. Actually, Noir means black in French, and Blanc means white in French. The link why we choose a French name is mainly because the location of our restaurant is an old French colonial villa, and we thought that the name Noir and Blanc sounds rather elegant. Black sounds maybe a little bit harsh. Yeah, and Yahang Den also was not really passing our it didn't pass. Yeah, so we choose Noir and Blanc. So that is the name. Yeah, so in Blanc Restaurant we have a team of deaf and hearing impaired staff, and it's not that we take a sense away. We take your sense of sight away in Noir Dining in the Dark. It's not that we take your sense of hearing away in Blanc Restaurant. The main idea there is that we let you interact with the deaf and hearing impaired staff, and by asking you as a guest to order your meals in the language of the staff, in sign language. So we are encouraging our guests to use sign language to order their meals, communicate, ask where's the toilet, I'm eating vegetarian, can I have the bill? All these questions we have in a guidebook at the table. And then the menu comes with signs as well, with pictograms. So then you can order and communicate in the language of the deaf people themselves. Last year, in the summer of last year, we started with La Hoa, Flower Speak. That is our flower shop. And in the flower shop, we have deaf and hearing impaired florists. And they make, just like any other flower shop, flower bouquets and flower arrangements. And then we have the idea of making an impact section there by not making traditional greeting cards as a handwritten card or printed paper card, but as little video clips in sign language, where the staff will translate your personal message into sign language, and we make a little video clip of that, what the guest or the receiver of the flowers can watch back home by QR code. And then the video clip will be on YouTube, and then you can see the personal message what the giver wants to send you. Because normally flowers are gifted for a reason, for a purpose, for birthdays, anniversaries, or to send you a certain type of wish. And that wish, that greeting, can be done in sign language in that little video clip. We hope to be quite successful with that and have actually ideas of do scalability in other cities in Vietnam, like in Da Nang or in Hanoi. And then last year in November, we started with our fourth business, which is the spa, Noir Spa. And in Noir Spa, it is like a massage and spa, but then with a team of blind and visually impaired massage therapists. So we think that there, we have the opportunity to take your sense of sight away as well by offering massage in the dark. And when that is taken away again, your other senses heighten, and then touch, sound, and smell will be very predominant. So it is going to be, again, a very sensory experience. And now you may understand as well why we have chosen the name Journey of the Senses. So in the spa, we have the option of giving massage in the dark. And we did some research online, and we figured that we're actually the first in Asia to do this. Blind massage is definitely quite common in countries like Vietnam, Thailand, China. Especially in Saigon, it's not really done on a very professional level. I mean, there's very admirable social enterprises out there, and most of them are doing a fantastic job. But when it comes to massage, we have noticed that it's often a little bit, maybe not professional enough. That is a little bit of an issue where the massage therapists have great skills. They're very much more focused on touch. They can really find your muscle lumps, and they're very focused on finding the right spot to touch. But it's often done in massage places that are rather cheap. So there's very little money for their salaries. There's very little money for the upkeep of the building. So it's often a little bit dirty, a little bit tacky in a way. And we have then chosen the style of providing a nice, elegant spa with what we think a nice, elegant interior, but then done in a professional and clean way. So it is just like a regular spa, but then with the massage therapy from our blind and visually impaired team. And this year we started with our fifth business idea, and that is Café in the Dark, Noir Café in the Dark. And here we also discovered that we are actually, again, the first in Asia to do that. There's quite a few Noir dining in the dark restaurants worldwide. There's a few here in Asia as well. But Cafe in the Dark was never done in Asia before. So again, we're quite excited about that. Similar idea as Noir Dining in the Dark. You will then have coffee or tea as a pairing in the dark. And again, you don't know what it is. So you go to focus more on taste and smell. And then again, the team is our blind and visually impaired guides who will guide you through that experience. And we are quite excited about that. We started just a month ago. Noir Cafe in the Dark. So those are the 5 businesses we have right now. Originally, we just started with Noir. Had not really any idea that we would grow and scale up with this many different things, and actually also quite cross in different sections like flowers or massage. So we think that it really can nicely work together because it is supporting each other. Interesting fact is that all these 5 businesses we have now are all in the same lane, all in the same alley. So it's all 20 meters away from each other. So we can have people come for lunch in Blanc restaurants, have a massage in the afternoon, finish off with some coffee and go home with some flowers, for instance. So people can really visit us for a whole day. Then these are the things we do now, but we definitely have some ideas for the future as well. Green Papaya will be our vegetarian restaurant. It is still in the pipelines. We have the idea. Because of Corona, I think we have to postpone the ideas a little bit further down the road, but it is a future project, a dream we have. So Green Papaya will be a vegetarian restaurant with most likely a team of deaf and hearing impaired staff. And a vegetarian restaurant. We still have to kind of find a way how to do the whole operation and the service flow, if we're going to do that in sign language as well. That is still something we're thinking about, but the idea at least is there. And this project could also end up being opened in multiple places in Vietnam, because we definitely think that vegetarianism is becoming much more mainstream, and there's a large local Vietnamese crowd of vegetarian eating people, and so that might be quite nice to have that. And besides, vegetarian food is just delicious, so it would be nice if we have a vegetarian restaurant in our group. Then the second project we're thinking of is Dialogue in the Dark, that we will do on a franchise base, because that is it's a bit of an exhibition style concept where you will be in the dark again, but then guided by a blind person through a different set of rooms. So you won't sit down on a chair at a table eating a meal like in Dining in the Dark. This is very much moving around. You will be given a cane, one of those white sticks, and a blind person will guide you through a set of rooms, day-to-day activities, and then like a park or a living room, and you will be able to touch and smell and hear everything. So that is another project we like to do, but then it is more as a non-profit idea. It's more like an exhibition or more educational. And we actually think that it could work nicely close together with Dining in the Dark, where people can have a meal in the dark and then combine that with a visit in Dialogue in the Dark as well. We often get school classes or school classes in Dining in the Dark. So it could be nice as well to let them experience the Dialogue in the Dark. So that is something we're still working on. But yeah, maybe again, we have to plan it a little bit later, because we are abrupted a little bit because of this Corona COVID-19 situation. Now then, future project La Hoa and Noir Spa we have already, but the idea is to grow with those two projects in different cities in Vietnam. So La Hoa is definitely a little bit more for urban places like Da Nang and Hanoi, but the spa, same as the vegetarian restaurant, could be opened on more touristy places like Hoi An, Phu Quoc, Phu Nhe, Nha Trang. There's a large number of international visitors, and in quite a lot of places we have noticed that there's a lot of things to do during the daytime, but not specifically at night. So we think that especially the spa with massage could be a nice activity to do, including the evening times in those places. I put here a question mark as well because we're not really sure when to open, but yeah, we're open for franchise opportunities as well. So if there's any investors out there listening, it would be nice. And yeah, we can work together, but that is something we will work on later. So that is actually what we're doing. So the inspiration very much was try to get to tackle that social issue with providing job opportunities. But then still we wanted to do that in a way that it's not compromising or compensating their skills. And it is also done in a way that it's not become a novelty or like a gimmick for our guests. So with the development of Journey of the Senses, we kind of developed our own 4P model. I mean, those of you who are familiar with marketing definitely know about price, products. And then you can fill in so many P's because there's packaging and all these things involved as well. 4P's, of course, is also a famous pizza chain here in Saigon, but we're not talking about those 4P's. We came up with our own 4P's as in profits, professionalism, purpose, and passion. And we feel that those 4P's done in a nice way can work well together. As a social business, we like to show that it is possible to actually make money out of it, to make it profitable, if what we feel you focus on those P's together. Of course, you need to have purpose. It's a social business, so we have our social impact, but it needs to be done in a professional manner as well, so that we are not cutting corners, as I say here. We want to maintain the standard. We don't want to compromise. It is indeed a business that is professional, and it's not going to be like a gimmick or a novelty for our guests. We really like to show that it is possible for a guest to come, have a great meal, have a great experience, and be served by a team of blind and deaf people at the same time. It doesn't have to be that the staff have to lower their standards because we are working with blind to deaf people. We really want to show that it is possible to put it on a professional level. Passion is definitely very noticeable in a social business normally already. And if you really put in your passion, there's that saying that if you love what you do, you actually don't have to work, because it's just like a hobby what you're doing. And it kind of feels to us as well. It seems that because we have such a special concept, a lot of our employees, a lot of our team members are very excited and very happy working here, and happy staff that will translate to happy guests. So those 4P's together, we feel, are the ingredients of creating a strong and sustainable business model. And it is something that we like to show to our guests. We are professional. They don't have to be scared that they're eating in the dark. They don't have to be afraid that a blind person is giving them a massage. We really want to make sure that the guests feel safe, and that they feel they can understand that this is a real business indeed. For our staff, for our team members, especially those who are blind and deaf, we really like to show as well that it is a job for them. It is not just keeping them busy. It is a real job. We have noticed as well that they actually don't want anything else. It is just they have bills to pay. They also want to take care of their families, and they need an income. And there's truly nothing really different between a blind or a sighted person. The only thing is that one can see and the other can't, but that doesn't mean that the blind person can't work. They definitely can, and they're very motivated as well. So we also like to put the team there to make sure that they feel that it is indeed a real job for them. But then for us as business owners and for investors, it is definitely possible to make money out of it as well. In the beginning, we found it always a little bit strange to kind of admit that you actually make money out of a business. But then we spoke to so many investors on social enterprise challenges and competitions. And most of them are doing indeed say like it is a good thing because that guarantees sustainability and scalability and continuity. We were able to grow because we let the profit flow back into the business, and each time we're able to do some new projects along the road. So actually we self-support, and that is a good thing. So you can do something great for, let's say, 2 or 3 years, and the money dries out, and then you're going to disappoint so many people, and the staff, and the guests, and it's not going to be fun. So therefore, if you make money, you actually can create continuity as well. So that is what we what really helps if we are, because we focus on this 4P model, and we put professionalism, passion, and purpose into the business, and that will create profit to furthermore create purpose and passion and professionalism. It's just a continuous circle. Yeah. So originally we started as Noir, and we never really had the idea of growing immediately that big. But then we did indeed meet Seed Planter. And as I said earlier, that they created seeds for us. They really stimulated us to think a little bit more like a social business and to think about growth. And that is how we eventually then started with Blanc restaurants. And then from those 2 restaurants, we were just Blanc and Noir. Then we decided to create our Journey of the Senses group and open a few more, like the flower shop and the spa. And that really set the tone for what we're doing right now. So the development and the expansion is helps us by focusing on a model like this, and have people who give you advice, like people like Seed Planter. So then the social impact we actually measure on 2 levels. We have, so here is the PWD, the people with disability staff, and the the people without a disability. So the percentage there is showing how many people in our team with who are blind and deaf. So right now it's about 46%, but we hope to grow that in the coming years to through 49, maybe even up to 60% in the next few years, when we open a few more outlets and a few more places. So job creation is a big part of the social impact. That's why we also feel we fit in the number 8 of the SDG from the UNDP, from the UN, the Sustainability Development Goals. So job creation is there on one side. The more businesses we have, the more jobs we can create. At the other side, we create awareness, and therefore we measure that with our number of guests. So right now we have about, before Corona we had about 60 guests per day. Now it's a little bit different, of course, but we see that as daily interactions to change the guest awareness. The more guests we have, the more awareness we can create, the higher the awareness and the lower the stigma. So the guests can do whatever they want with that information. Just being aware is already a very big step forward. But we hope to stimulate eventually people, of business owners to hire disability staff themselves, and to showcase as well that what we're doing is that it is very possible. And then, of course, related back to the 4P model, you can also make profit out of it, indeed. So by the next few years, we hope to grow those numbers to higher numbers if we have more locations of our spas and the flower shop, and eventually the vegetarian restaurant as well. So the impact is definitely shown by we measure on job creation and awareness creation. Then those numbers are easy to see how happy our guests are with what we're doing, and it's always very flattering and humbling to see those numbers. So those numbers can easily seen on social media and booking sites like TripAdvisor, where we got quite nice scores. So people are always quite emotional in the way to express their feelings. We got a large number of press coverage in national and international news outlets, and this week we had again a few, so please stay tuned. There will be some more news out there soon. And since we actually got engaged with Seedplanter, we have been on a journey of going to a couple of social enterprise challenges and competitions, where in some cases we actually won some prizes, and a few times we were actually the winner as well. We're very grateful, and it's always nice on those events to meet new people and engage with like-minded people who have interesting ideas, and you can learn a lot from people. And it's always very nice to interact with other fascinating people who have great ideas. Then I have here one more picture of our team members, but that's not really, it's kind of the end of my talk almost, actually. We go through it. Thank actually you. Maybe even quicker than I anticipated that. But then we have some time left for questions.
Yeah, sure. First, I would like to say thank you so much for your inspiring presentation. I first knew about Journey of the Senses 3 years ago, but every single time I hear your story, I find new inspiration, and I see new grow, new development. And I'm so surprised that you can grow super fast and have a lot of plan in the future. And for Green Papaya Restaurant, for Dialogue in the Dark. I'm so excited about that. And
we are excited
thank
as
you
well.
So much. Thank you so much for sharing that inspiring story with us.
Of course, it is what we're doing is I started this idea, but it is really the team we are working with. We employ now a team of around 60 staff, and it is really up them who create this magic, and therefore we're very happy for that. So most of these things should go to our team members, because they very much deserve it.
I love you're saying that happy staff, happy guests. I was there once, and I saw the smile on the face of your staff, and it made me really happy.
Right, indeed. So thank you.
So now it's Q&A time. If you have any question, please send it to me. Các bạn trong phòng ơi, mình cũng có một anh đồng sáng lập viên của Journey of the Senses là anh Vũ Anh Tú. Thì nếu các bạn muốn gửi câu hỏi bằng tiếng Việt thì cũng có thể gửi câu hỏi bằng tiếng Việt cho Linh nhé. I received one question from attendants. Thank you for your presentation and creating positive impact in Vietnam. I really love the interesting creative business model ideas. And I have two questions. First, what were the challenges when you first started the business and how did you overcome? And second, what are current challenges? Yeah.
Right. We often get that question indeed, like what are the challenges? I think the biggest challenge is to convince the audience, to convince our guests that what we're doing is right. That what we're doing is a true business idea, and not a gimmick or a novelty. Sometimes people get a little bit skeptical by the idea that we are working with a team of blind or deaf staff, or that we are asking you to order in sign language, or that we ask you to eat your meal in the dark. People immediately have an image with that. Most of the time, luckily, it is a good image that people have, but sometimes there's still a bit of some skeptical people out there. Not that I disagree with that, because of course what we're doing is something very unique and not done in many places before. Some people take a bit more of an approach of gimmick, and we know that, and therefore we really put the emphasis on professionalism. We really want to show that to our guests that what we serve, that we serve great products with great service, and that it is indeed a business for us as business owners, for you as a guest, but also for our staff. It is a true job for them. So sometimes I feel that is maybe one of the biggest challenges to convince people that what we're doing is legitimate. Yeah. But therefore you also need, because we are still business, we have guests, they pay the bill. It is, you have to think out of their mindset as well. We really need to, the guest is king, as they say. That is indeed very much true, also in our business. So you really need to focus on making sure that the guest is satisfied and they leave indeed with a happy face, with a smile on their face at the end of their experience. So if you keep that as the central core and you build a business around that, then I think you will be able to build up something successful. Yeah. So maybe that is I think the biggest challenge. And right now, I mean, there's a very big challenge going on. I think we all know about it, this coronavirus. That's why we're meeting online instead of just meeting in a room like previous time with seed planter summits. But that is another thing.
Yeah, thank you. I got so many questions. I'm
Please
afraid
do
that
ask.
we don't have time to answer our question. Yeah. So another question came. Thank you so much for your great presentation and your time. Could you please share how you recruit and train your employees? I'm curious because the candidate pool for your staff are unique. And best luck to your business. Yeah.
No, we need. Thank you for the question. That's I'm glad that question comes up as well, because it is indeed an interesting part of our business. For pretty much all of the blind staff and about 2/3 of the deaf staff, first-time job situation. None of them worked before. Just a few of the blind, of the deaf staff had some job situations before, but it's mainly a new experience for all of them. But it also means that they have no experience, no knowledge, no idea of how to work in a restaurant. When you hire people in a restaurant, normally you work with sighted people and they have indeed experience. So you can just give them a bit of an orientation, tell them about your idea of doing the business and the operation, your menus, you train them, they have knowledge, they have experience, and within a matter of weeks they can work and it will be fine. But when you're training a blind person, obviously there is no experience. But then what we can still check at is the motivation. We can still check social skills. We can still check teamwork. we can still check their sparkling factor. I mean, it is they're going to work in a team. They're going to work with guests. So you need to be capable of, need to be a bit of an outgoing social person. But you can really check that in an interview as well. You don't literally need experience. The skills, we can teach them. That is something we can do. But to teach motivation and to teach engagement, that is very hard. So that is what we really look for in our candidates. And then it doesn't matter if you're blind or deaf. You can still be motivated and social. Also, deaf people can be social. You don't have to literally to speak to be a social person. So that is, so during the interviews, we very much look at that. Motivation, social skills, teamwork. Then how do we do the training? Well, that is an interesting thing, because when you do, I have quite a lot of experience in hospitality, and you can do easily a training for a training room. Often it's like a banquet room in a hotel. You get 20, 30 staff together, and you do a training on how to serve wine, for instance. So I can just show, and within minutes, people can just observe and kind of do it by themselves. But when you're a blind person, obviously, I can't stand in front of a team and say, like, this is how we do it. So it has to be much more verbal. You have to explain step by step what you're doing. And it's much more individual. So you have to train. Maybe I take one person separate and teach them first, very much by hand, and let them touch, like, this is what it is. This is the corkscrew. This is the bottle. This is where you put the cork. This is how you open. So that is then very much based on tactile training, actually. But once I have trained one person, they can help me train the others as well. And because most of them are in a first-time job situation, they are very excited and very eager. They're very willing to work. So often the training goes in that way actually quite quick, though that they don't have the knowledge. They're very excited and really want to learn. So often actually the training goes quite quick. Well, then for our deaf staff, we need to do training actually in sign language. And the first training was just sitting opposite each other. We did prepare a PowerPoint presentation because they can still see, obviously. But our restaurant manager and myself, we did not really speak sign language in the beginning. So it was actually an interesting session of just sitting opposite each other and just showing, like, here, this is what we do. But so we teach them hospitality, but at the same time, they teach us sign language. So by now, I'm not that fluent yet, but some of my colleagues, they're actually now getting very, very fluent in sign language. Because it's also a national language. There is actually 3 different sign languages in Vietnam. Hanoi, Hai Pham, and Saigon have a different sign language. So if you're a speaking Vietnamese person, learning sign language Vietnamese is relatively easy because it uses that grammar and the spelling. But some of my colleagues are quite fluent in that right now. So by now we can just stand in front of the deaf team and give them a training on something in their own sign language. Yeah. So it's just a different way of adapting when you're working with people with a sensory disability. But that does not mean that it is impossible. It is very possible. Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope that answers that question on the training. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of new things that I believe audience learn a lot from your sharing, and receive a lot of inspiration as well. I still have so many questions here, but we are about time. So just want to wrap up by saying thank you so much for your sharing, and to the other audience, there's still other opportunity to chat with Junie of the Senses. First, on the fan page, we will have a bi-social session in the afternoon around right after this, and at 11:30. And there's a second opportunity that is speed dating So you can go to Google site and click to speed dating, and you can book a meeting with Antu, co-founders of 20 of the Senses. That are two ways that you can interact with the speaker. Thank you all. Thank you, Kim, and thank you all the people, all the attendants in the room today. It's my honor to have you in the room and continue to inspire, continue to make me feel like the seed that she planted so is actually something that we're proud of, and we should continue our journey. And we hope that you can be our companion in the future, and wish all the best for your business. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the participants. Indeed, it is actually very nice to talk to you online. Thank you very much for listening, and and Sien Planter for organizing this summit. Keep the good work up. Indeed. Thank you very much all, and until next time. And do please send message to me or to my partner Tu. With Tu, you can obviously speak in Vietnamese as well. It will be a pleasure to continue talking later on. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that 10:40.
Yeah, the number of participants is rapidly going down as well now. Yeah. I need to stop share. Okay.
Thank you, Kim. It was so inspiring.
Yeah. No, great. I hope so. Thank you very much. I think I went through all my points, but good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Different style this time online, but I think it works very well because people can be a little bit more flexible in when to join and what sections to join. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the end of our session, and anything else?
Yeah, you now can just until we continue with the bisocial in the afternoon and answer the speed dating. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
okay.
there's a one panel.
I have here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're also in the same room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
bye-bye, Ling.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Tonang.